You can sew with 3 or 4 threads with the Coverlock. 4 threads will give you 3 rows of stitching, and 3 threads will give you 2 rows of stitching. With the 2 rows, you have a choice of setting the needles further apart or closer together, and the sample that I'm going to sew today has the needles further apart on the machine. You can see here, if there were 3 needles, there would be another one in the center between the 2 needles that are placed there. Take your fabric and put it with the wrong side facing up on your surface, and then you're going to fold one of the long edges 2 centimeters, and I've already got the one end pinned, and I'm going to just pin that in place. And these pins are at right angles to make them easier to deal with later. And then you're going to take your iron and give that a little bit of a press to put an edge on the fold there. When you sew with the Coverlock, you want to have your fabric with the right side facing up. And we're going to stitch this approximately 1.5 centimeters from the edge. Now you'll notice there's no guidelines here. So if you feel like you want a guideline, you can use a piece of masking tape to position it. I'm going to just use my eye on this one. And you want to put your fabric so that there is fabric under the needle. If there is no fabric under the needle, sometimes these jam when they start. And so I've got it lined up approximately 1.5 centimeters. Lower your presser foot. And when you start stitching, you want to stitch slowly at first, just to make sure everything's working properly. And then you can go faster once you're done. And when you get to the end, use the balance wheel. You're going to lower the needles, and then you're going to, until you hear a click, and then you raise them to the top position until it seems like it wants to go down again, and then lift the presser foot, and you take your sample or your fabric, hold on to the threads quite firmly. You might need to wiggle the wheel a little bit in order to pull it away. And then when you trim your threads, you need to trim with and leave some thread ends, because we're going to be using those to knot this. Now this machine does not backstitch, and so what we are going to do is pull our threads to the wrong side. And so I'm just going to take a needle here and thread through the needle, and I'm using a needle with a large hole just to make it easier. And then you just go through the fabric to the other side, and then do the same with the other thread. And then on the back, you're going to take all these and knot them together. And trim that off. And you do the same on the opposite side.